During the Age of Industry, the last known hero known to Albion sat on the throne within the capital city of Bowerstone. With magic slowly leaving the world and the residents of the land now relying on the technology and advanced weaponry to deal with some of the harsher environments across the continent, the children of the region were still told the stories of the ancient heroes of old and how they had once protected the villages of Albion from the fantastical creatures and extraordinary villains. In the outskirts of Brightwood, there lived a child that believed that one day he would grow up to do great things in Albion and travel across the land just like the ancient heroes had once done. Who was this child and how does his story end? Here we explore in the lore behind Ben Finn. As the population of Albion boomed over the centuries after the defeat of Jack of Blades, many settlements popped up across the land, simply attempting to survive in a now united kingdom governed by the last hero ruler of Albion. To the east of the stunning forest region of Brightwood, a small hamlet known to those that lived there as Gunk was home to the Finn family. With being considered as one of the poorer settlements of Albion, the family struggled to survive, barely managing to provide the basics such as food and clothing for the children. The little gold the family did earn came from a store that the parents ran within the town that specialized in toothbrushes. While the idea sounded great in theory, the villagers of the poverty-stricken town were said to not to care about their oral hygiene and instead spent their gold elsewhere. With this, the 4 children of the Finn family had to discover new ways to create an income for their family. While the parents were at work, the children went into the town square and bent the rules of the law enforcement to earn gold. The eldest child, Jason, taught his younger brothers William, Quentin and Ben how to pickpocket the locals. With more gold coming in to the Finn family, life became a little more bearable for them. Although Jason, William and Quentin had a natural talent for pickpocketing, Ben always struggled due to his belief that his earnings should come from a law-abiding method instead of going against the law and potentially towards the path of a life of crime. Although the Finn family was now able to put food on the table, Ben searched for a new way to contribute. At the age of 8, Ben discovered that he had a natural charm, and so he used this to perform in front of the crowds at the town square of Gunk, in which he told jokes to those passing by. From here, he was given donations by those that enjoyed his acts. While he had found a way to contribute in an honest way to his family, his brothers took advantage of the audience watching young Ben and used the opportunity to pickpocket them, acquiring greater yields of gold. While Ben disapproved of their methods, he believed his part still to be honest work. Over the next 3 years, Ben saved part of his earnings, planning one day to use it to explore Albion and follow in the path that the heroes of old had, just like the ones he had read about in his second-hand storybooks. On his 11th birthday, his brothers bought him a pellet gun. While it was not a real gun, it still had the ability to inflict small amounts of damage. With this, he discovered a natural ability to shoot with accuracy, just like the old heroes that had been gifted in skill. While the brothers always looked for a new way to earn gold for their family, they suggested that Ben used his natural gifts of skill to create a booth in town and challenge the locals. With very few being able to beat Ben, the locals became aware of his gift and business dried up for the Finn brothers. To this, they began to rely on local villages and traveling traders to get as much gold as they could from this dying business venture. After time, the local guards became aware of the operation. Although the boys were not breaking any laws, the guards still asked them to leave the villages and target other areas. By the age of 15, Ben had saved up enough gold to leave his home, explore Albion, and participate in grand adventures. Although his dream was about to be fulfilled, the death of the last known hero of Albion changed his luck. While Ben had saved his gold and stayed on the right side of the law, his brothers, over the years, had spent their gold on gambling and less savoury activities. Due to their poor choices, Their actions finally caught up with them, and in turn, changed Ben's plans to travel. His oldest brother, Jason, was the first tragedy in a short sequence of events that would change Ben's life. After getting into a relationship with a farmer's wife, Jason was killed during a duel after the farmer discovered his wife's betrayal. During the duel, the farmer ordered they fight with pitchforks. Due to Jason's lack of experience in duels, and naturally anything honest, he held his pitchfork the wrong way around and died due to his own negligence. Shortly after this, Ben's second oldest brother, William, had disappeared without a trace after travelling to the capital city of Bowerstone. Within, he had attempted to run a con game on the locals. Unknown to William, his mark had been an off-duty guard wearing his civilian clothes, and so he was arrested, never to be seen again. Although two of his brothers had left due to their immoral activities, Quentin, the third oldest of the Finn brothers, continued to gamble until one day his gambling debts were enough for an angry person wanting to be paid to put a bounty on his head. While Ben was saddened by the death of Jason and the disappearance of William, his worst experience by far was for Quentin, as he was there when the bounty hunters came for him. Although Ben fired with accuracy at the bounty hunters, his gun was not powerful enough to inflict real damage on the predators. The death of Quentin was etched into Ben's mind due to the violence and the guilt of his inability to protect his older brother. With a debt still owed, Ben used a large chunk of his savings to pay off the bounty, keeping what was left of his family safe from the sadistic nature of the thugs. Now an only child to his parents, the grief resulted in his mother's death. Devastated that 3 of her children had left her in such a short amount of time, the children she had struggled to raise with limited resources. Ben's father then turned to drinking as a way to cope with the loss of his wife and 3 children, spending the little gold he had at the local inn. With the family store now the only source of income for Ben and his father, Ben stepped in to make the store work while his father drowned his sorrows in alcohol. Although Ben was a natural shot and could perform for the masses on command, he lacked the ability to sell the toothbrushes that nobody wanted. Although he continued to struggle to maintain the store and watch over his father, his positive attitude was not enough as his father later died, leaving Ben the final Finn in the village he called Gunk. With no reason to stay, and all of his remaining gold now spent on the funerals for his family, Ben left Gunk at the age of 17, still poor, but eager to become an adventurer no matter what he had to do on his path there. Entering the local towns, he attempted his stand-up routines that had worked back in Gunk, but the crowds in the larger towns did not have the same reception as his poverty-stricken town that had limited forms of entertainment. With this, he took on any job he could. Entering Bowerstone, he worked as a bartender at the Cow and Corset. Within Brightwall, he took a job at the Brightwall Academy, stacking books for the owner, Samuel. Although this job would have been boring to most, Ben took advantage of this opportunity and used the books to learn as much as he could about Albion's history, locations, and fables. Having earned enough gold, he purchased his first rifle, and from this, he changed his line of work to becoming a bodyguard for the traders roaming from town to town. As this line of work was regarded as dangerous, he began to earn much more gold than he had through his previous lines of work. He also enjoyed this more as he was able to use his natural ability to defend the innocent traders of Albion against the hobs, undead, and bandits that plagued the paths. Having helped countless traders survive the perils of Albion, Ben finally had enough gold to follow in the footsteps of the heroes of old. After purchasing his ideal equipment, he went out to search for dangerous quests, hidden treasures, and plunder ancient tombs lost in time. For years, he experienced as much as he could that would bring him happiness. His adventures took him all over Albion, where his knowledge learned as a child, and from the Brightwall Academy gave him a first-hand experience of the legends he craved. Although he had achieved his dream, his constant need to continue exploring and searching for a greater treasure left him exhausted. While his dream had come true, he felt that he had still not found his true purpose, and the death of his entire family still left a hole inside that he could not fill. While he had chosen not to participate in the illegal activity his brothers had thrived in, Ben found himself taking a break from his adventures to feel closer to his brothers by participating in a little crime, and this gave him the excitement he craved. Here, he became a part of a smuggling ring that operated out of Bowerstone's port. As he had taken one step into this criminal lifestyle, he slowly began to sink. Later, he found his way to Bloodstone, where he took up drinking, gambling, and even participated in meeting a lot of local women, where it is said by some that many little Ben Finns may be running around Albion unaware of who their father is. It was said that Ben was very talented when it came to talking to women and was known to be a very good flirt. While he had originally looked down on drinking and gambling, he told himself that this was simply in his blood and that he was a part of the Finn family and honouring his deceased brothers. One night, and heavily intoxicated, Ben found himself aboard a ship surrounded by those he believed were getting in the way of his appreciation of the locations he travelled to. On their journeys across the seas, they plundered the locals and acquired whatever they could from those that could not fight back. Although he was able to see new locations, all he took from these moments were the scared locals that feared the company he kept. On their way back into Bowerstone, the group attempted to sell their stolen wares on the black market. While this endeavour had been a welcome break from his life, Ben took this moment to get back on track with earning gold in a law-abiding manner. While his smuggling ring tracked down the black market, Ben left the dock and bumped into Major Swift, a man that would change his life, set it back on track, give him a sense of purpose, and most importantly, a family. After joining the Albion Royal Army under the command of Major Swift, Ben used his natural ability of skill to once again help those across Albion, earn gold on the correct side of the law, and build a relationship with other members in his regiment, where he would tell them the stories of his interesting life and the troubles he had gone through to finally get to a point where he was happy and surrounded by a new family. Over the years, Major Swift taught Ben everything there was to be about being a great soldier. His unit was sent to various locations across Albion until one day they were sent to Morningwood, a region chosen by Logan to wipe out those he believed to be traitors to the throne. After being stationed at the Morningwood Fort Royal Army base for a while, the Swift Brigade had come to terms with the fact that this location was one of the most dangerous regions to be stationed in. The fort was constantly attacked by an army of Hollowmen, and for each soldier that fell, the Hollowmen would take their corpse and wear it as another soldier to fight against the humans. When the soldiers began to realize the severity of their situation, Ben had a habit of making jokes and seeing the light in the situation, regardless of how bad it was. On a regular day at the fort, and with limited men to maintain the constant attacks, the younger sibling of King Logan came through, searching for allies against a tyrannical king. Here, Ben noticed that this child of the old ruler of Albion had inherited their parents' abilities, and so a hero still existed in the world. As Sir Walter Beck spoke to Ben's commander, Ben took the young hero to the top of the fort, where he showed them how to use the cannon in the event that the Hollowmen army were to attack. To their luck, the hero aided the fort and the regiment against the Hollowman attack. With this, Major Swift offered their alliance to the resistance, and now Ben had become a part of the stories he had read as a child. Every hero at one point needed the help of an ally. Over the upcoming days and months, Ben assisted the resistance, where he was even said to have flirted with the resistance's leader, Paige, to which she was said to have let him down. Due to Major Swift having agreed to help the resistance, King Logan had heard of his betrayal and had him captured. To this, the resistance heard that King Logan was to make an important speech at Bowerstone Castle. Just after arriving at the castle, Ben witnessed the execution of Major Swift, the man that had been a great friend and had given him a new purpose and family. Although in a furious rage, Ben was able to calm himself enough to get back to the hideout where his new family were able to comfort him. From this, he took Major Swift's place in the revolution, fighting for the justice of Swift, and to bring back honour to the old royal guards of Albion, vowing that Logan had to be stopped no matter what it took. During their quest to reclaim Albion, Ben joined the Hero of Brightwall and Sir Walter Beck in acquiring allies in the southern land of Aurora. Although the boat sank on their journey there, Ben survived. Using his natural charm, he convinced the leader of the Aurorans, Kaelin, into sending out a search party to find the missing hero and Sir Walter. With luck, he found them both, and it seemed that this time, his curse of losing those closest to him had ended. With the Aurorans now on their side, Ben and the Resistance stormed the capital city of Bowerstone, successfully removing King Logan's tyrannical reign over the suffering population of Albion and replaced him with his younger sibling to lead Albion through a new foe, the Darkness. While normally kind-hearted, during Logan's trial, Ben advocated for the execution of the once tyrannical king, asking the new ruler for justice over his mentor, Major Swift. Over the next year, Ben Finn helped run the kingdom, now acting in the same role that Major Swift once had. As the hero ruler worked to gain as many reinforcements in preparation for the upcoming battle with the Crawler, Ben trained the finest soldiers that Albion had ever seen. After the war with the Darkness, and with the death of another good friend, Sir Walter Beck, Ben decided that being a general in Albion's royal army was just not for him, and he wanted to go back to adventuring across Albion, where he would later stop in at Bowerstone Industrial to ask Paige to join him on his adventures, in which she unfortunately turned him down. With this, he went out into the world and found himself on the adventures he had read and dreamt about as a child. He had gone from the youngest child that had never quite felt that he fit into his town, to an adventurer that had given up the rank of general in Albion's royal army, and now he was even best friends with a hero. On his journeys, it was said that Ben travelled back to Morningwood, where he met a gnome named Ginger, and even discovered his brother William, that had disappeared without a trace, was still alive, but had been transformed into a creature known as a half-breed by a talented alchemist. It is said that Ben was later given the choice to save his brother by killing Paige, but he decided against this, and later killed his brother after he succumbed to the animalistic side of his condition, choosing the lives of the whole town of Blackholme over the single life of his brother. In another adventure, it was said that Ben was chosen to be the hero ruler of Albion's best man for a royal wedding, although believing the role would have been better suited to the late Sir Walter Beck. Ben was honoured to have been chosen for this role, as he and the hero had become close friends over the years. After the hero's wedding, an envoy, Shan, from the desert region of Samarkand, came to the kingdom of Albion to ask for help, as her land had been attacked by the forces of the Darkness. Accepting the challenge, Ben once again fought side by side with the Hero of Brightwall, but this time, the forces of the Darkness were too strong, resulting in Ben having to retreat from the fight, while the hero ruler of Albion was captured by the sinister forces. Once again, leaving Ben feeling helpless, simply waiting for a new plan to emerge to save his best friend. What is known of Ben's story ends here, but maybe one day, we will find out how his story continued. Once a young boy that felt that he did not fit in anywhere, he worked hard through his life attempting to stay on the right side of the law, but with the nature of his family, he always felt the lure to take part in criminal activities. Known to those across Albion, Ben has been called many things: a charmer, a womanizer, and to some, even a scoundrel. But to those that knew him well, he is simply a man that dreamt of going on an adventure just like the heroes of old, and that dream he accomplished. Some even believe Ben to have been a hero due to his natural abilities of skill, but his heroic potential may be a story for another time. I ask Hero, was Ben truly an undiscovered hero of skill, or simply a man that was extremely talented with a firearm? That was the lore behind the legendary Ben Finn. I always loved Ben Finn because he always seemed to be positive about the situations he had been put into during the game. Morningwood is a depressing place, but he still had an upbeat and can-do attitude about everything. I also like his voice actor, Simon Pegg. any British person knows who Simon Pegg is. If you enjoyed this episode, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a like and a comment on your thoughts. If you would like to stay up to date with everything I get up to outside of YouTube, then go and follow my Twitter and Instagram. I do tend to post more on Instagram though. I do also stream on both YouTube and Twitch every Friday, where we are currently playing through Fable Anniversary using a hard mod. I am terrible at games, and so it's just a terrible time for everyone to watch. The link is in the description if you are interested. Finally, I would like to thank my patrons who are helping support the channel. I really appreciate you. Thanks to the Old Gods, Avi WV, Arko, Austin Moody, Brunette Jnas and Jojoscotia, and an extra special thank you to the Elder Gods tier, Scruffshroom, Jonas, Lewis and Queen Arby. Thank you so much guys. This was the lore behind Ben Finn in Fable. What did you think of this lore video? Are you a fan of Ben Finn? Is he one of the least memorable characters for you? And do you want to see Ben return in a potential future Fable game where we find out how his story ends? That is, if Playground Games decide to carry over some of the characters from Lionhead's Fable game. Personally, I would love to see him return in any form, even if it is just his name on a tombstone or a ghost of Albion's past. If you have any suggestions for future Fable lore videos or any future Fable theory videos, please let me know. I do have a long list still to get through, but the interesting ones seem to always get bumped to the top. Now Hero, enjoy your day.